Algebra students, we talked about integers in our first classwork, and now we're going to be working with rational numbers. Rational numbers, the first 5 letters of rational numbers spells ratio. A rational number is a ratio of 2 integers. So a rational number can be written as a fraction. That's what a ratio is. 2 numbers can often be written as a fraction. 1 to 2, great example. That's called a rational number. You know it better as 1/2, but it's just a ratio of 2 integers. 3 is a rational number because it can be written as a ratio 3 to 1. Pi is not rational because it can't be written as a fraction. 1/9 is equal to 0.1 repeating. This is a rational number. It is a repeating decimal when you try to put it in base 10, but it can be written as a ratio, so it's a rational number. I bring up rational numbers because what you will see a lot in your study of algebra are fractions. You will see things written using this nice fraction bar. And the thing I can't stress enough at this point in your study of math, is that when you have a fraction, there is an implied parenthesis in the top and the bottom. Often kids don't get that you have to simplify the top and simplify the bottom completely. Now, sometimes things can't get too much simpler than they already are. Take this example, x plus 3 divided by y minus 5. That's it. You can't do anything. We don't know what x is, we don't know what y is, so if we don't know what x is, we don't know what x plus 3 is. This is completely simplified. Where it gets harder is when I say something like x plus 3 divided by x. Some kids will want to cancel these out, but again, sorry, I shouldn't have an equal sign there. Again, I have something like this. There's a parenthesis here, and I can't do anything until I know what x is. You might see something like this, x plus 3 divided by x plus 3. Well, now this is a little different because I'm taking whatever x plus 3 is and I'm dividing by whatever x plus 3 is. Well, those are the same thing, so I get x equals 1, or this whole thing equals 1, not x. Excuse me, I'm misspeaking like crazy today. So when we deal with fractions, we have to be careful about what we're crossing out and what we're simplifying and how all that works. There's no hard and there are rules, and I don't want to say, oh, it's always easy or it's always hard. What I will tell you is if there are no addition and subtraction signs, then it's pretty easy. If all you're doing is multiplying and dividing, x times 3 times y times 5 divided by x times 4 times y times 10. It's pretty easy here with no addition or subtraction signs because if you have something on the top and bottom of a fraction, they will just cancel out. If you have something with 5 and something with 5 in it, the 5s can cancel out, but down here you're left with that 2. So the final answer here would just be 3 over 8. And so you can do a lot of things with just multiplication and division that are a lot easier without subtraction and addition. Let's take a look at putting all this together when we look at the order of operations. I don't know how many times you've heard the order of operations. It could be a lot. I learned it as please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Many people have just learned it as PEMDAS. However you learn it, parentheses, I can't spell, so I just kind of fuddle it together. Exponents, multiply, and divide in order, left to right. Those two go together. And then add, subtract in order, left to right. Now, I actually don't like PEMDAS as much as I like PIMA, because there is no such thing as division, and there is no such thing as subtraction. They're just different forms of multiplying or adding, respectively. So, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, addition. So, let's take a really nasty example and walk through the order of operations. Take a look at this one. It looks really, really messy, but I promise you, if you just follow the order of operations, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, and division in order left to right, and then addition and subtraction in order left to right. The first thing you got to look for are parentheses. Parentheses is a bad name because it's really any kind of grouping. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to get the grouping. Well, we've got an exponent here. We've got this that's just being multiplied. Here's a big grouping. We'll do that. Got this here. Oh, got this big group here with little groups. Okay. And then that big group. All right, here we go. So, the first thing, 13 plus 9 plus negative 12 plus 1 minus negative 10 minus negative 6. That becomes negative 10 plus positive 6. So minus negative 4. The denominator looks real messy, but we do this and we get a 9 divided by. And now we've got to deal with this mess. I'm going to do this first and get a 1. 4 minus 3 is 1. 1 times anything is itself. So now I have this group. 16 minus 9 minus 8. And all that plus 12. All right, we keep going. Now it's all, well, we got to figure this out. So we got 16 minus 9, that's 7. 7 minus 8, negative 1. So we have 9 divided by negative 1. All right, so let's just clean all this up. So 9 divided by negative 1. Add that to 12. Over here we have 13 plus 9, which is 22. Negative 12 plus 1, that's minus 11, plus 4. And now we've got 11 plus 4 over negative 9 plus 12. That ends up being 15 over 3, which is 5. Wow, that was a really complicated way to write 5 at the very beginning. But there you go. Now, I know I make that look easy, so I want you to pause the video and try this one on your own. If you pause the video, let's see what you came up with. The numerator and the denominator. A big fraction bar like this really means just you can do the top all at once and then do the bottom separately. So I'm just going to jump into the top. 2 cubed, that's 8. 8 plus 4, that gives me 12. Done with the top. Now I just got to figure out the bottom. Okay, so this is a negative 18 minus a 6 plus a negative 4 minus all of this, which looks like it's just negative 5 times negative 1 times negative 5. So that would be negative 25. You see how I got that? A negative times a negative is positive, times another negative is positive. 5 times 1 times 5. So here, let's see, I get negative 24 plus negative 4 minus negative 25. So that ends up being 12 divided by negative 28 plus 25. That ends up being 12 over negative 3, which is negative 4 is my final answer. If you got negative 4, then you did it correctly. I can't tell you how many times I'm tagged in something on Facebook that's a simple order of operations question. It drives me crazy because the number of adults who don't know how to follow the order of operations. It can be hard if you're not breaking things down in order from left to right and you don't get those big things with parentheses. So that's what we're going to focus on Monday. It's just the order of operations dealing with rational numbers. Awesome. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Peace.